Hello viewers. Recently, I gave an interview with one of the company where I was initially asked about implementing SCD2 in Google BigQuery. So it's basically to implement slowly changing dimension 2 type in Google BigQuery. So how I can implement. So I did it using match statement. So we have a match statement where we can track the changes in the data, and then we can insert and update the records based on the. I mean, we can do the match to maintain the history by updating the end date for the expired records. So I did it using match statement. However, the interviewer was not fully satisfied. He was also asking how you can implement without using match statement. So I gave it a try. I implemented also using also without using match statement. um, I thought like this is one of the trickiest question. It's not that easy at the moment of when you have to give an interview. You will not get all the idea how you implement slowly changing dimension 2 without using match statement. So I thought it's useful if I create a video and then make it available for you guys to have a look before you go for an interview. So what is SCD? Slowly changing dimension. So it is basically an important concept in data warehousing, which talks about how do you maintain the data and the history of the data within your within a table basically. So we have three main types within SCD, which is SCD1, SCD2, SCD3. So SCD1 is basically you do not maintain history. You have your data always replaced by the new record. So your existing record is always replaced by a new record, so that you're not maintaining any history in case of SCD1. In case of SCD2, you will maintain a history. You will maintain the full history. So let's say if there is a any new record coming in, you insert that new record. Also, if there is an update on the existing record, you will add a new record for the updates. So you will expire the existing record and you will insert a new record on the in the table. So in this way you can maintain SCD2. And SCD3 is basically you maintain a partial history. So where you maintain the just previous version of the record. So you will not maintain the whole history of updates for each record. So these are basically the concepts of SCD1, 2, 3. So I just have an example here in which I wanted to implement SCD2. So we have two tables here. One is customer dimension. So basically this is a dimension table where I have a customer details. For instance, customer ID, customer name, city, and start date and end date. So this is an original table which is already there in the database. On this table you have to implement SCD2. So you have these columns. So you see the first record with customer ID C000. You already have two records for this customer. So you see customer Steve lives in a city USA from 2024 January 1st until 2025 January 24. So he moved to Canada on 2025 Jan 24. So that's why when on that day when this batch ran, so you see that the existing record which has city as USA got expired. So how it expired? We make end date as the current date. On that day, what is the current date? Since it was expired on 24th of January 2025, on that day this record got expired. So that's why we kept end date as 2025 Jan 24. And we insert a new record with the new city which is Canada, and we make end date as 9/9/12/31 and start date as on the day when this record got effective, which is 24th of January 2025. So this is how we maintain history. So this is the existing data of the customer dimension table. So, and you have this customer staging data. So let's say in most cases you have your delta file coming from a cloud storage bucket. So there are different ways that you can do the history processing. So you can have this file present within cloud storage bucket, and you can create an external table in BigQuery. So the data resides within GCS bucket. You just have the schema within BigQuery, and then whenever you query the table in BigQuery, it references the data that it has in cloud storage bucket. So this is a concept of external table. So with you can have this external table, and then you can use that to do the comparison or the join between the dimension table, or you can also have a physical the standard table on BigQuery with whatever reference data that we have, whatever the delta data that you have on your cloud storage bucket. So especially for this example, I created a standard standalone BigQuery table here for the staging data as well. So in this staging data, I have only three columns, which are customer ID, customer name, and city. We don't need start date and end date because this is a delta file. So using this reference data or the delta data, we have to do the history processing on the main customer dimension table, right? So that's the reason we do not have start date and end date. So we have to join between these two tables, and then we have to implement SCD2 concept. So these are the two input tables, and this is how output table should be. So you see here, customer C001, um, he has city as London, if you see in customer dimension, but in the new staging table you have this city as Amsterdam. So it means that customer John has moved from London to Amsterdam. And customer 002, I see there is no change, so it is just like a copy record. And you see C004, C004 is entirely a new record because this customer ID is not present in your dimension table. So what basically we have from the staging table is one inset, which is C004, and one update on C001, because this customer changes his city from London to Amsterdam. So this is exactly what we have to do. So this is the existing history processing C000. We ignore that. C001, you see there is we expired the record which has the city as London with 2025 10/11 with current date, and then we have to insert a new record uh, with effect start date as the current date, end date as 9/9/12/31. So this is the active record from today onwards. And then there is no change for these records, Mary and David 002 and 003, and you have a new record called C004 for the customer ID, and the customer name is Emma. So for this newly inserted record, definitely we will have start date as today's date and date as 9/9/12/31. So let's see how we can implement this. So firstly, I created all the tables. I can just quickly show you all the tables data here. So the same data that I have shown in the inputs. So this is the staging table data, exactly the same what I have shown in the notepad. And this is the dimension table data. So you see you have the start date and date, customer ID, name, and city. So the same data it is present there. So firstly, I created all the tables, I inserted the data. So that's how it is. And you have this I have a dedicated data set and dimension table and staging table here. And now let's see how we can implement slowly changing dimension 2 without using mesh. Okay, so first I create a temp table. So I use a common table expression basically here, so which is called detect changes CTE. So in BigQuery you cannot use the common table expression, the table that you created with CTE in your subsequent queries like updates and insets. That's why I had to create a temp table out of it. So in this CTE common table expression, what we basically do is to detect the changes in the main dimension table by comparing with the staging table. So you see here, I take customer ID, I take the customer name from staging table, customer city from the staging table, and also the customer name and city from the dimension table. So just for the sake of comparison, and and you see this the start date and end date also I fetch from the dimension table, because these two columns are only present in the dimension table. And here is the important part. I just compared using the case statement. So firstly, what I did a left join between the staging table and the dimension table. So I did a left join. The left table is the staging table, it's not the dimension table, it's not the full table, because we are comparing the staging table against the whole dimension table. So that's why we did left join with staging table with the dimension table on customer ID, because that is the key column, and the dimension end date is date of 9 and 12/31. So there is a join on end date as well. Please remember, you shouldn't keep where condition here, because if you put where condition, it will filter out the record altogether. So we just need to join on dimension and date as 9 and 9/12/31. This is to fetch only the effective record from the dimension table. So in the case statement, what we have done, so we are comparing. Firstly, when dimension dot customer ID is null, then I means insert, U means update, C means copy. So what exactly it means? Dim dot customer ID is null, then I. So since we are doing the left join between staging and dimension, if there is a join failure, meaning that the record present in the staging but it is not present in the dimension, then the customer ID for the dimension table is null. So that's what exactly we are checking, because the join, so since we are doing left join, the dimension customer ID will be null, which means that there is a new record in the staging table for which we have to insert it onto dimension table. So for all such records, we keep the flag as I. And there is the next condition. We are checking the non-key columns. Either the customer name or the city is not matching. So we are already joined on the customer ID, right? But key columns are matching, but non-key columns are not matching, right? So in that case, customer name and the customer city are not matching. Then this record has been updated, right? So that's why we make the flag for this record as U. And if it is neither I or U, then simply it means C. So these are the flag change type basically, using which we will be able to compare while we do the insert and the update. So for an instance, I'll run this select query and show you how it looks like. So you see here, since we have only 3 records on the staging table, we get only 3 records because we do left join and the left table is the staging table. So you see here, C1, C2, C4. You see that C1, the flag is update, because there is a change in the city. So staging city is Amsterdam, dimension city is London. So that's why this is update. And first record is copy. There is no change in the first record because the name and the city are the same. And the last record C004 is totally new record. And because of that reason, the customer ID is also null, customer name is null, city also null. So all the columns are null here, right? So that's why we consider this record is I, because this is entirely a new record. So let me run this temp table creation. Okay, so let us run it with the update table set actually. Then next we have to run the update query. So update query so first we have the records. So whatever records which are coming as an update, for that first we have to expire it in dimension table. In order to expire that existing record in dimension table, we have to join it with the temporary table that we created above, and then we have to join on the customer ID. We have to keep the end date as 9/9/12/31, because we are updating the effective record in the dimension table. So that's why this 9991231 condition is important. And finally, the change type is u. We have to update the record for which only the change type is u. So for this, what we are updating, end date we are updating as current date. This is the actual concept, that we are making that record as uh, ineffective, means like not active, right? So end date is current date, means we are expiring that record. So for that reason, we are expiring by keeping end date as current date for the updated records. So this is the first step that you need to do. Remember, you have to first do the update, and then you need to insert, because only if you insert first, then there will be duplicate records of two active updated records. So first you have to update the update records, and then you have to insert the new records. So either the type is I or the change type is U. You simply insert the records with staging customer name, staging city, because the updates are coming from staging. So we are not keeping the dimension customer name, dimension city anymore. We are updating the we are creating a new record with staging customer name and staging city. So it is the same case even for insert record or for the update record, right? So in this, and also we are keeping the current date, start date as current date, end date as 9/9/12/31, which is basically we're keeping all insert records are active. So both insert and update records are active. Let us run the whole query now. Okay, all inserts and updates are complete. Now let's run the select from the dimension table. Okay, so you see, there is no change in C00, and there is a change in C001. You have this existing record with the city London got expired, and there is a new record with the city Amsterdam is effective now. And there is a new record for C004 which got inserted as start date as the current date and end date as 9/9/12/31. So this is how we need to implement SCD2 without using merge statement. Thank you.